Coming to you from Annapolis, Maryland, home of the U.S. Naval Academy, the sailing capital of the world, home of the world's largest crab feast, and 4 signers of the Declaration of Independence. This is the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, a daily roundup of local news that you can use, including local sports, local events, local opinion, and local weather from DMV Weather. Now here's your host, publisher of Eye on Annapolis, John Frenaye.
Good morning. It's Monday, June 11th, 2018. This is John Frenaye, and this is your Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. I tell you, this Monday we've got a bunch of downer news, just forewarning you, but we're going to end on a couple of up notes. In the political world, Delegate Ted Sophecleus died at a Baltimore hospital on Friday at age 79. He started his career as a pharmacist in the 60s, but transitioned into public service when he was elected to the Anne Arundel County Council in 1982, which led to a 35-year career. Anne Arundel County Executive Steve Shue said Ted gave 36 years of his life to public service as a councilman and a delegate. He was an effective legislator, a family man, and a very, very nice person. He will be sorely missed. This does throw a little bit of a wrench into the election, as Sophecleus was expected to be a lock-in for the primary. This now bumps some of the other Democrats that are running in that race up a little bit. Working smoke alarms allowed one person to escape a house fire and led to the rescue of a second person early Saturday morning in Waterbury Heights in Crownsville. Just before 1:30, fire department responded to the 1100 block of Waterbury Heights Road. A female resident of the home was able to escape after being alerted by smoke detectors, and when fire department arrived, neighbors told them that there was an 86-year-old female resident still in the home. They did effect a rescue and transported her to Baltimore Washington Medical Center with critical and life-threatening injuries. The intensity of the fire was so great that they could not do an interior attack. They stayed outside to extinguish the fire. The area does not have fire hydrants. It took about 90 minutes to put under control, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation. Saturday afternoon, a large deck collapsed in a waterfront home in Pasadena. Fire crews were called around 5:40 to Laurel Drive for a waterfront home where 10 people were transported to local hospitals and to a local trauma center as well. Yesterday afternoon, a bicyclist was injured in the Bacon Ridge Trail in Annapolis, again up in Crownsville area off of Hawkins Road. Just before noon, they got reports of a 36-year-old man who had been injured while biking on the trail. But due to the steep hills of the park and the rough terrain, it took about 3 hours and assistance from Howard County, Annapolis Fire Department, and the Riviera Beach Volunteer Fire Company to locate, stabilize, and move the patient. Fire personnel had to walk about 2.5 miles. They had to use ATVs, and the patient was finally rescued and taken to Anne Arundel Medical Center with what is to believe non-life-threatening injuries. A tragic and bizarre scene in the Hillsmere neighborhood of Annapolis on Sunday afternoon. A tree trimmer was working in the 100 block of Sunset Drive when he was struck by a limb while in the tree. Initial reports is that he was killed instantly. When EMS and fire department arrived, they found that he was still harnessed 8 feet up in the tree. A special operations unit was called in, and it took about an hour to get him from the tree. MOSH, Maryland Occupational Safety and Health, will be investigating what happened there. See if you can follow this bouncing ball with Annapolis City budget. First, there was a 13-cent increase, and then it went down to 9.9. Then it went back up to 13 cents last Friday. Now it's back down to 10.5 cents. E.B. Ferguson from the Capitol has a report. Basically, we were told that the 13-cent increase was due to the City Council from kicking the can down the road too long, and in order to get it back down to 10.5 cents, they're kicking it down the road again. If approved, they're going to use $1.6 million in bond funds, which was slated for the rebricking of Main Street, and they're going to use that for just citywide road and sidewalk repairs instead. If you're wondering when Main Street would get rebricked, well, that is going to be pushed back to the 2020 budget, so sometime in 2020 or 2021. So if you have a ruined suspension or anything like that driving up Main Street, find an alternate route. Another interesting thing out of that meeting was that Alderwoman Shanika Henson asked each department head to explain why they needed the new hires. They did, and they noted that each of the hires were vital to their department, yet many were to fill long vacant slots, which begs the question in my mind, if they're so vital, why were the slots long vacant? All right, let's get out of the bummer news and go into the happy news. Justified defied all the odds on his way to achieving Triple Crown immortality. The late bloomer won the Belmont Stakes on Saturday by 1 3/4 lengths, giving the sport its 13th Triple Crown champion. The last one was American Pharoah, who ended a 37-year drought in 2015, and now here we are just 4 years later, celebrating Justify's sweep of the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. A lot of records were broken with this horse. Justify began his racing career on February 18th, 2018, just 77 days before the Derby. His trainer, Bob Baffert, is only the second man to have won 2 Triple Crowns, and the last one was done with American Pharoah in 2015. Jockey Mike Smith is the oldest jockey ever to win a Triple Crown, and he is 52 years old. Congratulations to Bob Baffert, to Mike Smith, and of course to Justify for a fantastic race on Saturday. Speaking of fantastic shows, as we all know, the Washington Capitals are going to be celebrating their 2018 Stanley Cup win with a parade. The parade is scheduled for 11 a.m. tomorrow, starting at Constitution Avenue and 17th Street near the Washington Monument. It'll proceed along Constitution Avenue to 7th Street and will culminate in a giant rally on the National Mall. Expect huge crowds for that, and if you're looking for some entertainment, check out Alex Ovechkin's Instagram account. He's been all over town with that Stanley Cup and having the time of his life. That's about it for the top news today. Make sure you're checking out eyeonannapolis.net for news throughout the day, as we do update that consistently. And if you're wondering what's going to happen with the weather, hang tight. We have George Young with DMV Weather coming right up.
Do you know what your teens are doing this summer? Don't be afraid to ask. The most recent Maryland Safe and Supportive School Survey shows 3/4 of Annapolis high school students say it was fairly or very easy for students in their grade to get alcohol. Underage and binge drinking is very real in Annapolis. If you give them access to alcohol, you're not cool, but you are liable for the outcome. Create a safe environment for your teens and their friends this summer. If they need to talk, listen. If you need to talk, we'll listen. We're here for you and your children. We're ASAP, Annapolis Substance Abuse Prevention. ASAP facilitates healthy community change, prevents and reduces binge drinking, underage drinking, and alcohol-related auto crashes among youth and young adults through locally led collaborations and evidence-based prevention strategies. Visit us at PreventSubstanceAbuse.org. This message is supported by SAMHSA and the Maryland Behavioral Health Administration.
This is Maryland. The weather can be nearly unpredictable. We've got George Young from DMV Weather in Annapolis to sort it all out.
Hey everyone, this is George with DMV Weather, and this is your Eye on Annapolis forecast for Monday, June 11th. A chilly and likely wet start to the work week today, with showers and maybe a few storms for Annapolis and all of Anne Arundel County, with high temps only in the 65 to 70 degree range, some 10 to 20 degrees below normal. Conditions improve a bit tomorrow with temps back up into the upper 70s and skies likely dry. Then temps move up above average on Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the 80s to near 90 for the area. And looking ahead to the Father's Day weekend, the expectation at this point is for dry conditions and temps in the 80s. Okay, that's it for us today. This is George Young of DMV Weather. Make it a great week out there, and be sure to follow us anywhere, anytime, either on our website at dmvweather.com or on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on our app, which you can download for free by searching for DC MDVA Weather in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. But always remember, whatever the weather outside, have fun and be safe.
Hi, I'm Anne Arundel County State's Attorney Wes Adams. The heroin and opioid epidemic has touched every family, including mine. That's why I've teamed up with our county executive, Steve Shue, to do something about it. My job is to make sure that the drug dealers who are peddling the slow death of heroin are locked up and off our streets. But there's more to it. We have to stop the cycle of addiction at its source. We have to talk to our children about the dangers of prescription drugs and pay attention to the signs of addiction. Is your child withdrawn? Have you noticed spoons that have gone missing? Or maybe found spoons in odd places with black residue on them? Go to denialisdeadly.org right now or attend one of our Not My Child presentations occurring all around the county. You could save a life.
Thanks for listening to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief. If you like what you heard, make sure to tell your friends and colleagues about it. And also tell them about our website, eyeonannapolis.net, where you can find much more. Be sure to check out our other weekly podcast, The Maryland Crabs. This podcast comes to you every Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.